All right, well, today we're at my place, the Michigan Museum of Horror. Lady died in that chair. My idea is I'll make a few videos kind of going in detail on a few of the exhibits specifically, but today, if you like Ouija boards, I have a few. So Ouija boards, spirit boards, talking boards all together, they pretty much started back in the 1860s. The first, I guess, like widely publicly produced manufactured Ouija board would have been the Kinnard Novelty Company Ouija board, 1891, and it's right there. Now this is the infamous 1891 Kinnard Novelty Company Ouija board. Now this and this one right here, they're both 1891 boards. You see the second one's in much better condition, but the top one is actually a little bit older, and I'll tell you why. If you look at this Ouija crest, you'll notice the registered underneath there. But if you go and look at the top one there, there's nothing. So this is actually a pre-registered Ouija board. It would have been early 1891. That would have been mid to late 1891. Now both of these boards, they're constructed by 3 to 5 individual boards with 2 slats on the back, keeping them together. Now in 1892, which is this board right here, they kind of got rid of the 2 slats on the back, and it was just a solid piece of wood. They still kept that small Ouija crest there. But then this one down here at the bottom, this is actually a Ouija Novelty Company Ouija board. So this is 1893 to 1898. They changed the Ouija crest here a little bit. Kinnard Novelty Company merged into this Ouija Novelty Company. And then basically for a few years they produced these until they turned production over to William Fold and his brother Isaac Fold all together. What's special about this one is just recently I added an 1896 book called Les Spiritismes, which is from Paris, France. So it's basically an old book on spiritism. And fitting, I put it together with a board that would have been basically out at the time. So if you found yourself in a nice creepy shop somewhere around the world, there's a chance that you could have bought both of these and brought them home with you, which is always fun. Now, one of my favorite Ouija boards that have ever been produced is the circa 1917 Mitch Manitou Ouija boards. So a reasonably minded man would, just get a nice Mitch Manitou board. I got 4. I may have a problem. So right away with these Mitch Manitou boards, you can tell that they're all somewhat similar but different in their own way too. Now these Mitch Manitou boards had one of the most unique board layout designs of all time. And the patina and color on each one of these is so unique. One of my favorite things about this board is the planchette. If you see that there, that's the mystic hand. So this was the planchette that the Mitch Manitou boards used. It was shaped like a hand. Now, not many boards in general used the hand-shaped planchette, but certainly not many boards back in 1917 used that. So revolutionary of its time for sure. Now this one is one of the most expensive Ouija boards in my entire collection, and also the smallest. This is no bigger than about 5 by 7. It's made of paper cardboard, and it is called the Wee Ouija. So you can see the little baby planchette, the board, and what's unique about this one is it still has the original mailing envelope, but it's not filled out, and it's in pristine shape. So it's one of the nicest mailing envelopes I think I've ever seen for this Wee Ouija that still exists. Costing me way too much money. Now, not only are there Ouija boards up here, but there are also Ouija related items, right? So we have complete sets, but you'll also see some things like this. Now this is just a Ouija board box, and while it may look like any normal Ouija board box, it is signed by Anton LaVey. So I've always wanted one of these next ones here, ever since I started collecting, and I don't know, I'm kind of biased because I love flat black, if you can't tell. And the name of this one just kind of, I mean, it's just awesome. It is the 1939 Falcon Voodoo Tipping Table. So essentially for this one, you would place your hands in the little placeholders there, you and a couple friends, and at some point, the table would start tipping and turning and rocking and answering your questions. Now, I don't know exactly how it works, however, I love it. Now, my idea with these Ouija boards was I was gonna create kind of like a timeline collection, so you could start down there and then you would go through all your mystifying oracle boards, you would hit your Ouija boards, right? So here's the early 1900s, the first ever William Fold boards, a possible brothers board with, you know, that maybe him and Isaac worked on. That one we're still figuring out here, but these early 1900s Ouija boards. And then it would kind of follow you all the way down the path line here to the early 1900s, now the 1920s, the different pieces all together. Now this was a fun one right here. This is actually a complete set. So you got your Ouija planchette box, planchette, original box, and the board. So I thought that was an amazing piece there. And then of course you got your J.M. Simmons Ouija board. Now this one, I actually met up late at night in an Applebee's parking lot to get this. So when duty calls, you definitely answer the call. Now these, for the most part, are my 1940s Ouija boards. Now there's a few 50s, 60s, 70s sprinkled throughout, but what I love about these 40s Ouija boards is they definitely were not afraid to get colorful and vibrant with the designs. Most specifically, this Egyptian motif is probably one of my favorites, probably one of the nicest examples that still exist out to this day. This pink color right here in the middle, this is one of the first things to start to fade away. And yeah, it's like immaculate condition. Now, a lot of people ask me if any other Ouija boards are haunted and if, you know, I'm afraid of any of them. And I will say, no, for the most part. However, there is one Ouija board that I do not mess with and that I respect and I just kind of leave alone. That Ouija board is all the way in the back in a dark case, right behind me. Now, this Ouija board is very interesting because this was one of the first items that we got donated to us in the museum. We actually had it donated to us by a local witch named B.B. Crow. Now, the story behind this is back in the early 90s, there was a tavern in the Eastern Market in Detroit. So she was called to remove this Ouija board because of all the negative energy that it produced and the bad vibes it gave off and really just the bad times that people had with this board specifically. So she put, if you look closely back there, you can kind of see it now. There's a binding and some wax seals. Now she did that. This was in order to keep the negative energy, a spirit kind of binded to the board. And when she donated it, she didn't ask for 20 bucks, she didn't ask for gas money, she didn't ask for anything. She said her only requests were that if anyone was stupid enough to basically break the binding or the seal, that she's not personally responsible for what happens to that person. Now, I don't want to give away too much or tell you guys too much about all this, you know, I'll leave it, some of it a secret so you guys can come see it yourself, but yeah. Proud to announce we have Michigan's largest Ouija board collection and we're always growing, so if you want to come talk to the dead, you know where to find me.